Now we have audio also. Welcome to Project Vayner episode 88.
I hope we have audio because usually I'm in the background and check if we have audio. I always run into the live and say, no audio. So we just hope that.
Yeah, she's the control panel person. So we want to say hello to Daniel, who has a glass of wine ready. Nice. That's perfect. Ray is here also. Hello, Ray. Welcome. Yeah, so we collected some questions on stories in advance, and if you're just tuning in here and you don't know what it's about, we are doing a pretty spontaneous Q&A, I would say. So I was supposed to do a live on Friday, and there was some issues on Friday, so we decided to do Q&A now. And this is the first time we're doing it. We're kind of testing out the format. So
yeah, I've never been live, so I'm new to. Bear with me.
Be kind. But as long as the audio goes through, that's the most thing. So I'm looking down here at the computer that you don't screen, because here I have the OBS software to control the screen and also show the questions. First of all, I'm going to build graphic. Now it's switched, so we need. But this is that's me, and that's you. I think you know us by now. Yeah, and also I just want to mention the Patreon supporters. So shout out to Daniel, and I should know this by heart now because it's only 3 people.
The sound is on.
Okay. Good to know. Thinking yellow and red might be some issues with connection. But yeah, sound a little bit on and off for me. Okay. I can quickly check if I switch the MacBook microphone. Makes a difference. Okay. Is the audio better now?
We have to talk some more, so the ears.
1, 2, 3, 4. Testing the audio in the
at least
the computer audio.
Now. Maybe that's good.
Yeah, it looks green. It's very high though.
Yeah, because they're so close.
Yeah. So if I lower it down like this.
Yet, but then you haven't seen it yet. Also, something else. No one's commenting on the audio.
What do you think about the audio? Is this better than what it was before? Who knows? Then we will jump into the questions as soon as the audio is good, because that's important.
Yeah. But it stays green, I guess it's fine.
Green light is always good. So yeah.
Crisp sounds great. Nice.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel.
Fucking external microphone that we put up. Just use the MacBook. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not really. Okay. So I'm trying something new here. I have something called image slideshow where I put all the questions in, and I'm gonna show them one by one. I haven't tried it out before, so I don't really know how to navigate that, but it's right here. So I don't know if I go to properties, see if all the was no images there, so maybe I should add those. Boom, done. And then I click OK. So now you should see a question there somewhere. Exactly. Where do you want the question?
That's good.
There? Okay. I drag it down a little bit. So there. All right. Can you all see the question in the window? Hopefully. Yeah, as I said, we're kind of trying this out as we go. Hopefully it will get better and might do it again. Yeah, looks good, says Ray. Great. So, yeah, should we start off with the first question?
Mostly your questions.
Yeah, I think so. Mostly video questions. The first one is from Valisoa. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name though. I hope it's all right. This might sound basic, but how to adjust the volume of the music with the voice or vice versa? Yeah, I'm kind of trying things out when it comes to the audio volume and audio levels. And what I discovered on my videos is that if you go into the editing software, there is like a volume meter, so you can see where the volume is on the audio. And I usually put my excuse me, I usually put my voice at around -2-3 on this meter, so -2-3 decibel, and then I usually have the audio between -13 and -18. So what I usually see is people have background music that is way too loud. So put it somewhere between there, -13, -18. And then it's also really good if you have music that doesn't have any person singing. So it's like an instrumental song, at least when you're speaking, because otherwise it's like two people speaking. So it's kind of hard to hear. One thing I usually do also is when I have background music, I add an effect from the effects window called low pass. So I just put that on top of the audio, because then it kind of sounds like the audio is coming from another room, and it's kind of more bass, and it's a bigger contrast to your voice. So that's a tip. And there's also, I have published a tutorial where I'm going through how you can automatically adjust the volume when you're editing. So I think it's called How to Lower Volume Automatically. So you can check that out on my channel. It's like a 1-minute tutorial. It's a pretty handy tool where you can just select what's the dialogue and what's the music, and then click analyze, I think it is, and then it automatically changes the volume. So yeah, I hope that's a good answer. We will move on to the next question. Let me see, if I click here next in playlist, we should move to the next. There we go. That works well. So next question is, bro, your channel is awesome and I wish you all the success. Thank you. Not really a question, but I appreciate that. That's real nice. So let's just move on to the next one. Any tips editing a wedding video? Ooh.
Where to start?
Yeah. This is an interesting question because I actually have a wedding photographer right here.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe you should start by giving some tips about documenting
shooting
a wedding.
or editing? It's editing. It's not shooting a wedding. It's on editing a wedding. Anyways, I'll start with shooting because that's I know something of, at least from photography point of view, and also I've seen some. I like worked alongside some wedding videographers, so I kind of know how they work, how their videos look like, and I personally really like a cinematic approach where it's not just from start to finish, like everything is like in a row after each other, but it's a bit more, maybe you start the video with a voice overlay and there is like the people reading the vowels to each other. So just the overlay of the actual like audio that we recorded when they were reading the vowels, and then maybe some nice B-roll of, you know, them walking down the aisle, or like the family, or like some decorations of the place or whatever. I think this I've seen many videographers doing that, and I personally like that style when you like jump into it and you already hear the voices of the bride and the groom and have some nice B-roll. And then I would always switch it up, go back and forth a bit. Of course it has to be somewhat chronological, but I think it's nice if you go some B-roll and then go back to the vowels, go back to the dance, and then some food and some other activities, and then and then also for shooting, I think it is really helpful. So usually the wedding photographer takes the couple out at some point of the day, right? Which is usually the afternoon, the night, depending what time of the year, or the light is good, obviously. So that is also a good point in time for the videographer, I think, to join the photographer, and both of them can find a nice location. The photographer can take some nice couple pictures, and the videographer can just stand there and film, maybe in slow motion, some things that they do. Maybe they dance with each other, or they're just walking up to the camera. These are like super nice B-roll clips, I think, are always good to have and don't take much time, that you can spice up. But this, like I said, this is more like for me as a photographer's point of view and what I've seen. I've actually edited one wedding video myself. I have shot one wedding. You know that? You've seen it? Yeah, it's a really long one. It's like 20 minutes, but they wanted it that long. So. But that was not my best work. I mean, it was the only thing that I did. But yeah, so when it comes to editing, any tips specifically to that?
I think just in general, like really studying storytelling and how that works. I think that can be applied on all the different kinds of videos.
Wait, question. What's B-roll? Yeah, I said B-roll. You're better at this. Explain what's B-roll.
That's maybe good to clarify. So A-roll is like the main footage where like the story is the people speaking, and then when you put B-roll on top of that, that's like the secondary footage. So you add like something visual. So you usually have like A-roll on the first track, and then you put B-roll on top of that on the second track. So you can still have, for example, an interview with someone, and he sits down and talk about something, and then you add a clip on top of that, so you see something else, but you still hear the audio. So usually when people talk about B-roll, it's like nice clips that they film that doesn't have any audio. It's a lot of times it's like slow motion footage.
Exactly.
Or like nice transitions.
So in wedding filmmaking would be like a nice, clip from the wedding rings, and then the cake, and maybe the couple like being couple-ish in slow motion. That's B-roll.
Exactly. So drone footage, pretty good B-roll, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I was talking about storytelling, and I think in weddings, it's so many things happening during the day. You know this better than me, but I think about, if I would shoot a wedding, I would really think about trying to tell the story of what's happening during the day, and not just like the moment where they're getting married. Like how are they like preparing everything in the beginning, and then how it's like leading up to when they are actually saying yes to each other, and maybe also adapt the music and like the style of the editing, how long and how short the cuts are, so it's like kind of slow tempo in the beginning and kind of slowly building up to the point when they are getting married, and then afterwards it's like some party, and like end with something positive and something symbolic, like they are closing the door or they are walking out holding hands. So you see like, okay, this is like the ending shot. And then maybe start with like some details or something happening later on in the video, just to like grab the attention. So there is like some certain steps to go through when you work with storytelling. And if you study like videography and like how to script a movie, it's a lot of things is similar in other videos as well. Like you still go through these steps. There is probably some resource where you can read more about this, and where they explain it better than what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and I think also as well as in photography, and if I deliver a gallery to a client, I think it is very important that you have a consistent style in editing. So maybe some photographers also work as a videographer at the same time at the same wedding, and if you work with presets, that makes it a lot smoother. So if you have a specific preset, maybe you use in Lightroom for editing photos, maybe you have a similar preset that you use for the wedding movie, if for example you shoot both things at the same time. So it's really one package, so you see it's like out of one hand, one style. And also if you're not the photographer, I'm sure you work with LUTs or whatever presets you use for filmmaking, and I think that like really hires your quality so much if the end product, like it's not like one clip that's totally blue and then one is super warm, and of course there are different lighting situations throughout the day, but I think if you work with presets a lot, so you can keep it kind of consistent, that just really looks good in any video, but especially for wedding film, I think.
Yeah, and one thing I've learned is that, because in the beginning I was experimenting a lot back and forth with different styles and thinking like, okay, should I have one style when I'm inside and one outside, and if it's different video jobs, should I edit differently? But like at the end, people contact you because they like the style of what you have done before. So if you can just like continue the same like color grading, the same like look and feel like you had before, then they will probably be happy, because that's the content that they have seen from you. And then you can maybe, if it's a wedding, it's maybe a little more like good exposed and a lot of light and a lot of white, so it looks very.
Oh, we have some red here again.
Oh. There is some connection issue, so I hope the audio is coming through.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Should I answer it now, or should we do that later after?
Yeah, I think you should do it now.
Oh God! To be spontaneous. Okay.
I grab some water.
So okay, sure. So I'm gonna read it. Simply Create asks, question for Svea. With video, we get time and many shots and frames to tell a story. How do you, or might you, try to approach telling a story in one picture in your photographs? Whoa, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't even have the answer to that. I have been photographing in series, like for my personal project or back in university, was something that we were really like drilled to do, like create series, tell a story in your photos. And I think it is really, really hard to tell one complete story in one photograph. Who's really good at this, maybe for some inspiration, is Gregory Crookston. It's an American photographer who's very popular. I'm sure anyone who knows about photography has heard about him. It's one of my favorite photographers, and he is actually really able to tell one whole story in one picture. But he has these massive production where he has like a whole crew of like tens and tens of people building up the set and the lights, and every little detail in one photograph is completely planned out. So he really thinks of the whole story and everything. And what I like about his photos is that it's really up for your own imagination what has happened. So this is, I think, if you're interested in this, you should really look him up. Gregory Crookston is a really great photographer doing this. I personally, like I said, I've been shooting series, so it's usually about, it depends on the series, but I would say around minimum 6 pictures that I've taken photos of. Name again. Gregory Crookston. I can write it down.
You can type it there.
As David Lingden.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, we are still.
That's,
okay. Yeah, it's really fun to look. So I hope Crookston? Okay. Crookston, I think like that. You'll find him if you Google him. I might misspell it, but something like that. And yeah, just for inspiration, he's great. And I have, is it good?
No, I think.
Anmärkning.
Strömmens nuvarande överföringshastighet är lägre än. Aha. Okay, it says there were some issues on YouTube, so I don't know how much you got from what we just said.
Okay, but he got him, so I think it's good.
Okay.
Okay, and yeah, and then so for me personally, I've been photographing series. When I want to tell a story in one picture, for me, especially taking mainly pictures of people, for me it's all about emotions and authenticity. So authenticity, yeah, I think so. Authenticity. Yeah. So
Lives.
yeah. So yeah, I think for me, like, faces tell stories, and if you get like this special moment, you're able to capture a lot of some in between message from a face already. But yeah, otherwise I personally shoot in series, and otherwise, like I said, I cannot stress it enough. Gregory Crookston is an amazing photographer, super nice. Check out his work. Yeah.
Great. So what do we have next? We had that one. better videos, bro. I'm not sure if you mean like I should make better videos.
Me neither. But it's the same person who said that he loves your content, so I believe.
Oh, yeah. So if it's a question, then it's a very general question, like how to make better videos. But I think I can like say some bullet points, maybe. Title you have, how the thumbnail looks, if you can work more on that. But then if you jump into the actual video, try to put a lot of focus on the first minute and especially the first 3 seconds. So in the first 3 seconds, you want to grab people's attention by addressing the title, so people know when they click on the video, okay, he's actually going to talk about what he promised in the title. So really grab the viewer's attention in the beginning. And then if you have an intro, have a pretty short intro. It doesn't have to be long at all, because people just go through that anyways. And then I try to put something in the beginning that I explain more and go through at the end. So I get them curious in the beginning to watch more, to come to that point at the end where I'm actually explaining it. And then I try to put a lot of time of the editing into the first couple of minutes of the video. So it's like a lot of B-roll, a lot of transitions, and maybe some nice graphic or animation or something. And then if they are still watching after a couple of minutes, because you usually lose a lot of viewers throughout the video, so if they're still watching, then you know they are interested, and it doesn't require as much to keep the interest throughout the video. So then from like half the video and forward, it could be like longer clips where you're talking about something and it's not so much editing, but it's more about the message that you are trying to communicate throughout the video. So I would say put a lot of time into the first part, especially if you do videos for YouTube. And then, yeah, just think about what do you want to communicate with this video. Try to have one message instead of like, I'm gonna cover 5-6 topics. Like have one message and try to have also one target group. Like, okay, I want to reach out to these people with this message, and I want to focus on that and make that the best, in the best possible way. And then try to think about what I said with the editing. So I think that's a good way to, a good place to start, and also usually try to make it shorter than what you think. So when if you're just starting out, when you're done with the edit, look through it again, see if you can cut it shorter at some point. Let someone else look at it and ask when they are starting to get bored. So you know, okay, this is a part that I can make shorter.
No.
Yeah.
Stop the life.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, so funny that I talk about making the video shorter and then I have a super long answer about it.
Yeah.
But anyways, hope that was a good answer. I'm moving on to the next one. So it's from Daniel, right? Yeah. So what's the difference between IGTV and Reels? Yes, so there is some, I mean, first of all, the things that are the same is that they both have a tab on Instagram. So if you go to someone's Instagram profile, you have like one tab with the grid, one with IGTV, one with Reels, and then the fourth one I think is content where you are tagged, I think. But like one difference is that you have a separate IGTV app actually. So if you post something on IGTV, you can get to it via the IGTV app, but Reels you can only see on Instagram. And also on IGTV you can, or I'm not sure how this works actually, but I know on IGTV you can publish a part of it on your story, and then you can use the swipe up feature, so they can swipe up to get directly to your IGTV, and then from there you can post links in the video description, which you can't do on Instagram post or Instagram Reels, because they just end up in your feed. Reels are also limited to, I think, 15 seconds. And
I was about to say, yeah, they're super short. Yeah.
And IGTV has to be at least 1 minute. So I think that's the biggest difference on them. The
Reels is a copy of TikTok, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think you have more features there when doing a reel. You can like edit while you're doing it, while IGTV is kind of more like YouTube, where you have a finished video that you upload to IGTV. But there is actually a really good playlist for this. I know a good friend of mine, Ray, who's watching this right now, has a playlist with a lot of like Instagram Reels tutorials.
Simply Create, right?
Simply Create, exactly. So
he's in the chat, so
yeah, so you can check out his channel and look at that playlist. Really good like walkthrough of how Instagram Reels is working. It's working. Yeah. She's also my English teacher, so that's perfect.
It's not even a joke.
Yeah, it's true. Didn't know about the IGTV app. Thanks. Going to dive into it. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. I think the biggest benefit from that, for me at least, is putting the ability to put the link in the video description, because then I can put something there and I can link to the YouTube video where you can see the whole thing. So yeah, I hope that was good. Appreciate the shout out, no worries. Move on to the next question. When using a DCP for preview, what audio configuration would you use for a 5.1 2160 at 231.1?
Well,
so yeah,
42.
Yeah,
that's the answer to everything. So it's 42.
Totally 42.
Next question.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think DCP is some kind of monitor maybe, and 5.1 I guess is referring to like surround system, 5.1 system, and the last one is some kind of ratio. Sorry, Dan. I would have answered better if I could, but yeah, that's over my ability. So next one, a lot of stuff I would like to know.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I got this one, and I asked her to specify and ask some questions. So I think we had one in the beginning. Maybe it's one more coming up. So next one is Daniel again. Smart ways to be creative when taking photos of myself in the dark. I think that's the question to you.
Are there dumb ways to be creative?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah, I saw that before, and I was saying to David, "Oh man, how to answer this?" Daniel, the first thing came to mind about like being creative in the dark and taking pictures. I know you're running, and since he's in Sweden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in Sweden, so it's dark. So. No matter when you're running, it's probably dark outside in the winter. So I don't know which camera you have or what kind of settings you can. Okay, you just said something. The problem I have now with taking photos on my running is that it's so dark. Yeah, and all the light from lamps on the street is boring, ugly yellow. Yeah, so how can I think about lighting and taking pictures? Yeah, so I guess I would say flashes, but since you're on the run, you probably don't want to bring a flash. But what you could do, and I talked to David about it, I know you have a headlamp or something when you're walking. You could maybe to take some cool photos after you're done, or in between you're taking a break. You could put your camera, since you don't have a tripod with you, put your camera somewhere on a stable ground. Could be anything really, could be a rock or whatever. Place your camera on a place where it's stable, and then I would actually play around with long time exposure. So maybe you expose the picture for, let's say, something between 1 and 3 seconds, and when you have the headlamp, I think could look really cool if you like run through the picture, and maybe when you look down, you will illuminate the ground you're walking on, and like your legs will move, and it will make some really cool movement.
No.
Yeah, some, what is it called? Movement. movement in the picture. That was my first idea too, especially because I know when you're out running you don't want to bring shitloads of gear, so with what you have is, like I said, put the camera somewhere stable. Maybe you have a headlamp, you could also use the lamp to like you know, write something or illuminate yourself, or if someone is there with you, if you're running with someone, you could just stand still in the photo and someone could just, you know, light paint on you and like illuminate certain parts of your body or something. I actually did this a lot when I was younger. So it was like just getting into photography when I was 15 or 16, it was a thing. But I think it's actually pretty cool and it's super fun to play around with this and what you can do if you have a camera that can do some long time exposure or that you can actually set up. I think even the iPhones have an option now for some longer exposure. I don't know what kind of camera you have with you, but that would be my idea to get creative. So maybe there's something that inspired you.
Yeah. And then you can do like different combinations, like one when he's looking forward, so the light is pointing this, and like you said, looking down.
Yeah, when you're looking down, illuminating the ground also, and that looks cool, and the legs. If he's just walking straight, then it will just be like one light bulb walking around, but if he's looking down, he's, I think, I've never tried this, I think it will look really cool.
I want to try it now. I'm curious.
Just my mobile phone. Where we have the exposure thing, that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, just look into... What is it? Long time exposure? Long time.
I think so.
Just look into that, and then maybe painting with light or something. You will find a lot of tutorials on YouTube about what to do with this. And I'm sure I know the Huawei phones have really good cameras. I'm sure they have something where you can set this up. So.
I was when we read this question earlier, I was mentioning like some kind of silhouette photo. Maybe that's an option where you have like. If you have the camera here and you have the light here and you in between, so you get light all around, but you are like completely black. Yeah. So maybe something like that.
Or maybe play around with the light you have. You said you have some street lights. Yeah, I know they are very yellow in the photos. Yeah. But maybe when you're running around, you come across some kind of interesting light. Thanks, I will try that on my dark run. Yeah, please show us the results. I'm curious what you're gonna do.
Cool. So should we jump to the next one? I don't know if there is a next one. Oh, there's. Okay. Hi, if I make video content on, is it Instagram, IG? Should I keep making it using 4? I never know how to say this. 4:5, 4:5. I know it. He.
4 to 5, the ratio of the image.
Yeah, I just don't know how to say it.
4 to 5.
4 to 5. Okay, 4 to 5 ratio, like I always do, or 16 to 9. Yeah, that's a good question. I can tell you what I usually do. I usually try to put as much as possible in 16 to 9, because then I can also post it on. Is it photo or video, by the way? Yeah, video. Okay. Because then I can also post it on IGTV. Because if it's that ratio, I can post it on IGTV and I can post a preview to Instagram. So then like one piece of content ends up on 2 platforms, and you can, from IGTV also, like I said before, you can share a part of it to your Instagram story. So then it even ends up on 3 places. And then you just have to think about how you design it, because in the feed it will be the 4 to 5 ratio. In the grid it would be 1 to 1, and on IGTV it will be 16 to 9. So if you can do it 16 to 9, I would do that. But there's nothing wrong with 4 to 5 either. The good thing with that is that you take up more space in the feed, so people are more likely to actually look at the photo and like it. And if you're a photographer also, I think you probably prefer to take up as much space as possible. I mean, sometimes you kind of destroy the photo a little bit if you cut it, I guess, because everything doesn't work the best in like 1x1. But yeah, it's a matter of taste, I would say.
That's why I have white borders on my Instagram. I just deleted all the pictures from my official Instagram account. I always thought about I wanted this white border, and I saw it in other photographers, and it makes sense if you're a photographer and you have intentions of creating a specific photo in a specific way. You don't want to cut things, or you don't want your feet to be cut. So I personally decided to go with white borders around them, so I can actually keep the original ratio. But it's true. It's actually with I think that taking up a lot of space in the feed is actually a good thing. I actually, now thinking about it, I think like my vertical images get like more than my horizontal. I have to check this out. That's interesting. Let's study this.
Because I know myself, I was publishing like regular YouTube videos, like clips of it on Instagram, and then it was just like this high, and then I realized, oh, if I crop it a different way, then it takes up this much space, like the double amount. So and then you kind of come closer also to what's happening. So if you can do that, then I would prefer that, but it takes a lot of extra time to like reformat or crop the video to fit different platforms. So let's see the next one. This might sound basic, but how to adjust the volume?
We had that already.
Is this the first one?
That's the first one.
Yeah.
I think we're going back to the start.
Okay, cool. Then I think we have done one lap, as I said in our home makeover video.
Lap.
You know, one
round. Yeah.
One round. You're back at the start. So cool. If you don't have any questions in the chat, you still have a chance to drop a question in there, I think, and we will pick it up.
Otherwise, we should do that again. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool also when
people comment.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you so much for joining, and thanks for commenting.
For joining.
Joining?
Joining.
Yeah. Joining? Okay. And yeah, especially if you ask a question and you're actually watching also, then it's easier to check with you like what you mean with the question, so we can like specify the answer even more, so it becomes like more valuable to you, so we don't like misunderstand anything. So yeah, I think that's been 40 minutes now.
Oh, not bad.
I think that's a good length for the first Q&A, and then hopefully we can do it again and maybe spice up the graphic a little bit, or maybe change the angle or something.
Name on the right person. That would be a start.
That would be a good upgrade actually to have a name here. So should we show the name again? Yes. So okay, this is this is me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.